Hi. So today I will be talking about the three learning theories that we had to read this week, which is first one is constructivism, second one is transfer of learning, and then third is situated learning. And all these theories, they are kind of, I guess, theories that present how learning occurs, and they all have their own different theories. And then, as you can see here on my page, I created a book, a little kid's book, and it's called Learning Theories. And our main character of the book is this little boy right here, Johnny. So I will start by right here. So I will read through it and then I will come back and kind of give more detailed information about each theory. So here's Johnny. It says this is Johnny. Johnny was very curious about the theory constructivism as he had heard of the word from his parents. Johnny learned that the constructivism helps engage and motivate students by letting them become an active role in the learning process. And then Johnny discovered that students achieve this by engaging in critical thinking, which helps students become better learners through a multi-step thinking process. He also understood that students did this by engaging, oh, misspelled, I'm sorry, right here, I'll fix it. Engaging in a problem solving, which is the ability to identify and solve problems by applying appropriate skills systematically. So here we have the first three, yes, the first three key points, red points that were on for constructivism. And then just a little overview. Constructivism is just a theory that believes that learning is created from meaningful experiences. So then we have critical thinking, which is right here, which is kind of, it helps students become better learners. By applying a multi-step process that usually use in a classroom setting. And then constructivism also has problem solving, and that is ability to solve problems by applying appropriate skills systematically. And then we use this as well in a classroom setting. And then I will go to the next page. And then this is Johnny had also figured out that in order for constructivism to happen, collaboration must happen, which this occurs when students work together. So a big part of constructivism is students becoming or coming together and collaborating with each other. Then he also discovered that communication was another key point to teaching constructivism, as sending or receiving information is a critical aspect. Finally, Johnny believed that two important key points for constructivism were meaningful context and having prior knowledge. He learned that in order for students to engage and to be motivated, they should be presented with appropriate and current content. They should also have prior knowledge about the subject. So these are the last, I guess, red key points for constructivism. And I already went through collaboration, now communication. In order for students to be part of the constructivism theory or idea, communication should occur with each other. And then lastly, in order for children or students to be part of constructivism, they should have a meaningful context. So they should learn something that is of their interest and that is current to them. So like an example, I guess if we're teaching a first grader, you're not going to have a, what is it, a chapter review or like what is another one? Or a book assignment, because of course first graders are just learning the who's and what's about reading and writing. So you're not going to ever want to ask, give me a book report, because it's not current to their age and to the content. And then students should also have prior knowledge. So another, related to the example, you're not going to ask the first grader, write me a book report, because they don't have prior knowledge of what a book report is, and they're also too young to be asked to do that. So that goes in hand. And then we will go to transfer of learning, and I will continue reading my little book. So Johnny was a very smart boy who some believe was too smart for his age. Johnny was fascinated with learning theory, so he decided to learn about transfer of learning. Johnny discovered two important learning key points for transfer of learning, which was near transfer and far transfer. Near transfer occurs when the student applies skills in one are to a similar student applies in or an area to apply skills to an area that are similar situation. Sorry. So then this an example is so let's see. Okay, so yeah. So an example here that I could give you. So in English class, you are taught to write a paper, right? And then if you go into your social studies class, then you're instructed to write a paper about a current issue regarding social studies. Then now as a student, you're able to do this because they taught you how to write a paper in English class. So you discover your transfer information that is near. And then we go to the next one, which is transfer. Far transfer occurs when you apply what you've learned to a completely different context. And then they give an example in the video. So it's when you apply test strategies to a political campaign. And then let's see, we have explicit teaching, which right here. And Johnny believed that that transfer of learning can occur if explicit teaching doesn't happen, which is learning to apply the content, which is learning to apply the content learned in school in future career. So it's an example, explicit teaching. So in high school, you are taught to be part of a debate, which a debate you are, a key aspect of a debate is for you to persuade your fellow classmates or your fellow audience. So you can take this into your real life experience when you go up to your boss and you're asking for a raise. You are trying to persuade your boss for a raise. So there you go. And then to finalize, Johnny concluded that analogies and metaphors as well as generalization are important strategies when using theory of transfer of learning. So Johnny concluded that being aware of analogies and metaphors will help take what students know and apply it to a new situation. So that is what analogies and metaphors are about. You apply what you learn, let's go into a new setting and a new environment. And then lastly, in order for transfer learning to occur, we need to learn to generalize. So which means just transfer learning or broadening of principles. Sorry, I'll go back. So lastly, generalizing is the last strategy, was which helps students broaden a principle from a specific situation. So yes, and that concludes the transfer of learning. And I'm trying to hurry up because I always run out of time. Okay, so then we'll go. The last theory Johnny studied was situated learning, which believes that students are more inclined to learn by actively participating in learning experiences. So here a keyword, a red word was cooperative education, which occurs when students are immersed and physically active in an actual work environment. So an example here will be when you are given the opportunity in high school to be part of an internship. So that's cooperative education. And then we go to, so another keyword was real world problems. And now continue reading the book. So he also discovered that students must be presented with real work problems. For example, students being part of an internship where they experience real life struggles and hurdles. Of course, when you're part of a internship, you are having that real experience. So I remember when in high school, I did like internship like at a law firm, and I was able to learn like what they do, like how they handle cases, what a paralegal does, what a lawyer does, and I mean I wouldn't have learned that if I wasn't part of the internship program. So that's what kind of and I was faced with real world problems. And then we have here, which is knowledge is acquired situationally, which happens when students are involved in a cooperative activities where they are challenged to use their critical thinking and kinesthetic skills. So yes, and then we will go to the next one, which is the social process. So social process means when students are involved in peer relationships and are able to connect prior knowledge with informal or unintentional contexts, then learning occurs. And then lastly, Johnny discovered how teachers need to facilitate this learning by providing opportunities to actively immerse in an activity while using problem-solving critical skills. So this last theory, situated learning, it believes that students need to be an active participate of the learning experiences. So they give example how going on field trips where children are actually experiencing their own learning. They're being part of it, or being part of an internship, where you are faced with like real struggles that the real world will present to you in the future. They also give the example of how being in a band or being a part of a football team or any like sports activity also allows you to be actively participate in your learning, and I don't think I talked about this, but like real world problems was to find student is situated in the learning experiences and knowledge acquisition becomes a part of the learning activity, its context and the culture in which it is developed. So yes, so that's a lot of, I guess the main goal of situated learning was for students to be actively part of the learning experience. And then we as teachers need to facilitate that by providing problem solving or critical thinking skills and daily content. And thank you for everything. I'll read this little part because it's really funny. So Johnny felt so accomplished about learning all about the 3 learning theories. Wait, it looks like Johnny is up to a new idea. What? Now he wants to learn about information processing. Oh, Johnny, too smart for his age. Stay tuned. So that concludes my book, and thank you for listening.